Earlier this morning, Mike Bloomberg picked up a new endorsement closer to home. Joining us right now to talk about that endorsement and the man behind it is New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer. Josh, good morning.
Good morning, Becky. How are you?
Good. You are throwing your support behind Mike Bloomberg. How'd you come to that decision?
I think that he's best for several reasons and why I'm excited to endorse him. First, just talk about experience, whether being mayor or running a business or helping lead on gun safety and on the environment. He's a proven leader. He's obviously electable. He can win, which is key, and who can win in November, can win in the White House. And I think the biggest issue is that he's a uniter and a problem solver, right? He can bring Democrats, Republicans, and independents together. He's got a very proven track record of actually getting things done. And I think right now our country really needs somebody who can bring us together, both in the party and, of course, in the country. He
brought the candidates on the debate stage last night together, all of them in terms of attacking him. He had a rough night last night. What'd you think?
I think it was 5-on-1. They all want to attack the new front runner, and they want to go after him, so that's what they did. I actually think, though, Becky, the biggest loser last night was Bernie Sanders and socialism. And I think on issue after issue, whether it was the failed policies that he's put forward on Medicare for all, which labor is clearly against and everyone on the stage is against. I think, obviously, when it comes to taxing everything that Bernie Sanders wants to do in class warfare, that's clearly not an accepted position on that stage. And I think in the party, this idea that we need to unite instead of attacking each other, people kept bringing that up about Bernie Sanders just trying to divide people up within the party. And I think that's not what the country wants. Obviously, Mayor Bloomberg is just the opposite. And I think the mayor had a great line when he pointed out that America's socialist actually owns 3 homes and is a millionaire.
Josh, did you see the same debate we saw? Because if you look at predicted or any of those numbers today, Bernie Sanders picked up an even bigger lead after the debate performance.
Well, it's not about one debate, as you know, Becky. It's about the long run. And I think overall, this is going to be about who can win, who's got the best ideas, who's electable.
But Congressman, let me just ask you a very basic question.
Yeah.
Mayor Bloomberg did not appear to be prepared last night.
I think it's tough. I think it's tough when you got 5 people on one. And again, you know, it's not about, as you know, it's not about who can win one debate. It's about who can win the election over the run.
I recognize that, but the questions that were asked of him were relatively obvious. The NDA question was going to come to him. The answer was not, I think, satisfying to just about anybody. And there were other questions throughout where it just seemed that he was stumbling.
I don't know.
I know that he's only had 10 weeks to be on the campaign trail, but
yeah. I still think the big takeaway is going to be whether or not people want a socialist, and I think the answer was no. And and I think it was an overall loser for.
What do you think the right answer is to the NDA question?
Sorry?
What do you think the right answer is to the NDA question? The reason I ask is I think it's a genuine vulnerability that's going to come up again and again, not only throughout the debates, but from the press. It's one thing to say that you're for. It's very hard to be for the Me Too movement and then at the same time effectively be silencing these women. So how do you square those?
He should have said
things?
when Congress releases the hundreds of NDAs that have been signed for all the congressmen.
Good answer. Okay, I'll take that. What do you say, Congressman?
Okay, all right. Hurry up, Josh, and then I want to ask you something.
Sure, I think he's ultimately going to say, yeah, he's going to have to release that.
You think he will?
I think that's ultimately where this is going to go.
Josh, I love you. You keep a stiff upper lip. You were with Corey for a while, and you really acted like you really were backing him when you knew that was a pipe dream.
Well, I did support Corey.
All right, I know. You did. I know that.
But he's left the race, so
I know, but we knew he wasn't probably going to go anywhere. All right, and now Bloomberg, he plunged on Predicted last night. Bernie went higher. My question to you, will you back Bernie Sanders? He's got a lot of grassroots support. Bloomberg's not the leader right now. Bernie Sanders is the leader by all measures. He's won two primaries already. He may win Nevada. He's way ahead on all the predicted sides. If he becomes the nominee, will you support him?
Joe, let's have this conversation in a few weeks because Bloomberg is going to be the nominee, and that's who the winner is going to be. So I'm not going to play those hypotheticals.
You sound like Baghdad Bob. It doesn't help when politicians just don't face reality, and I know you got to.
I'm facing reality.
Right,
I don't think. I'll tell you, that's not where my district is. Right? That's not where my district is.
Okay.
Right? They don't want socialism.
Well, I was going to say your district may not want that. If you heard earlier this week, Lee Cooperman on this network said that he thinks Bernie Sanders is a bigger threat to the stock market right now than the coronavirus. Do you think that?
What I think is ultimately, since I believe Bloomberg is going to be the nominee, we're going to be fine. I think the key is, and Becky, what I think is really important, is that at the end of the day, we need somebody who can unite us, who doesn't play class warfare, who brings not just the party together, but the country together, who can work with Democrats, Republicans, and
Bernie Bros are going to come out, and Bernie Bros and sister or whatever they are, but Bernie supporters are going to come out and not sit on their hands on Election Day if a billionaire is the nominee of the Democratic Party.
I don't buy that. I think everyone's going to come out. And I think that's what happens in the end. People are going to come together for the Democratic nominee.
Congressman, let me ask you. Let me flip it around, Congressman.
Actually ahead of Bernie.
If in fact Bernie Sanders is the nominee, do you think that Mayor Bloomberg will continue to fund the Democratic Party at these levels that he has suggested, $500 million more? Will he and should he?
Well, I think he's made it pretty clear that he's building an infrastructure that whether or not he's the nominee, and ultimately, which I believe he will be, that he's going to support the Democratic Party. And that's
even if it's Bernie Sanders, who may not. I don't think he agrees with Bernie Sanders on just about anything.
Well, I think he's already answered that question. Right? He already said he's building this infrastructure to win in November. And he's going to be the nominee, but whoever the nominee is going to be ultimately, whether it's him or someone else, he's going to support the Democratic Party. And I think that's key. And by the way, he has a record now of actually investing tens of millions of dollars in supporting Democratic candidates and ideas that we believe in, right? Whether it's infrastructure or clean air and clean water or gun safety, he's been there with the Democratic Party and with ideas. And he's a uniter. Look at what he did in New York. Not only did he build a business, right, with 20,000 employees, but in New York he created 500,000 new jobs. He helped get health insurance costs down and cover more people. I mean, he's helped teachers and improve education. He's got a clear, proven track record, and that's what this is about. That's why it's the experience and the electability and problem solver who is and will be the Democratic nominee, and that's Mike Bloomberg.
Congressman, I just look at your party and I see that if Bernie doesn't get it this time around, his supporters are going to go wild. I mean, they were still angry last time around that it went to Hillary instead of them. Do you think that he can unite those Bernie supporters if he actually turns out and wins the nomination? What if it goes to a contested? You think he'll bring them?
I believe he'll bring everyone together because at the end of the day, the Democrats are going to want to win. And by the way, it's not just winning the White House, as you know. It's also winning all the way down the ballot. You know, and we've got only a 17-seat majority in the House, and the Democrats won in 30-plus Trump districts like mine that President Trump won. That's actually, we got to make sure that we can not just win the White House, but that we also keep the Congress. A very, very important point, and Bloomberg is the one who can do that.